Welcome to Kiss the Reviews. I'm Armando.
You're goddamn right he is.
And that's Corey. And today we're doing 1999's Office Space. Before we get into it, if you want to follow me or Corey on Twitter, you could follow me at Junior D's. You could follow Corey at Corey_idol. As always, if you want to follow the show, you could follow the show at Kiss the Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
Not in Montana anymore. Fuck you, Montana.
So let's get into this. Let's get into the cast first, because this is a great cast. Whoever the casting director was on this did a fantastic job. But this film stars Ron Livingston as Peter, Jennifer Aniston as Joanna, David Herman as Michael Bolton, Ajay Naidu as Samir, Diedrich Bader as Lawrence, Stephen Root as Milton, and Gary Cole as Bill Lumbergh.
Listening to the names you listed off there, like you start with Ron Livingston.
Yes.
We knew him from the bit part in Swingers. And I'm just talking, like, I'm sure somebody had seen him in something, or, you know, he had these little cult followings maybe.
Yeah.
But the proverbial we, the general we, only knew him from his bit part in Swingers. Jennifer Aniston was obviously huge on Friends, but at the same time, outside of Leprechaun, she hadn't done a movie yet.
Yep.
Gary Cole, he was on The West Wing already, but, you know, only pretentious dorks are watching The West Wing. not typically your Mike Judge followers.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So a lot of these stars that are in this movie, it's really like the first time seeing them in a film like this, and it's phenomenal.
Yeah, and
they are all so good.
And bringing up Mike Judge, because he wrote and directed this.
Mm-hmm.
And this came across watching it this time around, and I've watched this a million times, but watching it this time around and kind of trying to pick it apart, it reminded me of a stand-up routine. Mm-hmm. You ever go to see a stand-up or you watch them on TV and they're talking about something? You ever go to the kitchen and blah, 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 and you're like, dude, all the fucking time. So many of these scenes, and this is why I think the movie's as big, like, and it has this huge cult following as it does, is because it's so epically relatable to anybody who has any sort of job, whether it's an office job, a waiter or a waitress at a fucking tchotchkes or whatever the hell. Yep. You have that boss. You have those coworkers. And in the opening scene, you have this drive, whether it's to work or whatever, because the opening scene kicks everything off with traffic. And all three of these dudes, you have Samir, Michael, and Peter, who are all caught in traffic on the way to work. Everybody's pissed. You got Peter weaving in and out. Whatever lane he's in, the other lane is moving and he's not. You have one of these reactions if you're caught in traffic.
Are you the guy that locks the door when the black guy walks by?
No,
that's one reaction that I've honestly never had. And it's not that it's not that I'm like so highly elevated. It's just Mexicans. When Mexicans walk by the car, I'd lock the door.
Yeah, I know.
I was like, no.
And Italians. I think it's Italians or people who are Italian who might look Hispanic. I think that's.
Yeah, light brown.
That's
my line.
I've just seen how you react when I walk by your car. So yeah. I'm more of a Samir, just losing my ever-loving shit behind the wheel and punching the steering wheel. And that's when I've lost it, that's where I go. It's immediate violence.
Yeah, I think 90% of people that have been diagnosed bipolar in this country have done it immediately after driving to their psychiatrist's office.
Yes.
Because the mood swings you have, you are, like you said, you're all of these people. Sometimes you're just sitting there, you know, kind of rapping, enjoying your music. You don't give a fuck because you are jamming. You have Samir, who's losing his fucking mind, where I have been there numerous times.
Yep.
And then you have Ron Livingston, who's just kind of depressed and shitty in his life and in his whole situation, and he's just apathetic. He doesn't fucking care. It's just Murphy's Law keeps butt fucking him. And like, been there numerous times.
Absolutely.
Like, Corey's life lessons.
Hi, writers. Uncle Corey here. When they say write what you know, this is what they mean.
Yes.
This is for a broad audience, as Armando has been saying this whole time. I am a niche writer. I write action, military with a little hint of sci-fi in it. My audience is very small. This audience is very big. If you want to make a lot of fucking money in the industry, this is how you write it. You write it to a broad audience where it's very obvious. You don't have to spell things out for people because everybody has had that drive to work. Everybody has had the TPS cover sheet conversation with a boss if you've worked in a cubicle job before. So this is how you do it.
These guys get to work and it's basically Groundhog Day, and you know, the fax or printer doesn't work right. Peter's boss keeps talking to him, or I'm sorry, Peter's bosses keep talking to him about his TPS reports, and there's many people within their work environment and in their office that all deserve to be punched in the throat.
Corporate accounts payable, Nina speaking. Just a moment.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
When I got diagnosed as psychotic, I said, I worked in offices for more than half of my life.
Yes.
That's why I'm fucking crazy. Because of people like this. People like Kanye, you don't deserve to be crazy. You have never worked in this cubicle kind of life before.
So they find out here from a coworker, Tom, after they go grab coffee, that the company's bringing in a consulting firm, and that can only mean one thing, that everybody's getting laid off or a group of people are getting laid off. And Tom is one of my favorite characters because, again, going back to the broad audience, and you work with this person and that person, everybody has a Tom. That is literally the most fatalistic person, and any change means everybody's getting fired.
Can I tell you something? I'm laughing so hard because when I watch this, I'm like, oh, that's Armando. We're all gonna get fired.
Is it possible this story is true? Yes, it is.
Why can't I just be like the pet rock guy? That's all I want to be, is the pet rock guy, and we're all gonna get fucking fired now. I'm you know what? Like, holy shit, that is Armando.
That's fair. That's fair. When I say everybody works with Tom, if you've worked with me, you've worked with Tom. So
fact. Even down to the point where Tom gets fucking run over by a car. And he's like, I'm the luckiest guy in the world.
If you hang in there long enough, good things can happen in this world. I mean, look at me.
That's Armando.
100%. Listen, bones and shit, that shit heals. Money, my friend, that's forever. If I don't gotta work, we're good. One Friday, after Peter attempts to sneak out early, his boss, Bill Lumbergh, catches him before he actually leaves and asks Peter to work over the weekend. And they obviously all hate their jobs, but Peter hates his job like at a whole new level. And he basically hates his life. And he says, because his girlfriend takes him to the occupational therapist, and he says that each day is the worst day of his life. Each day is worse than the previous day. So today is the worst day of my life.
Relatable.
100%. I have been there.
Relatable. Even down to the Lumbergh type boss.
I'm going to need you to go ahead and come in tomorrow.
I've been in the situation where you have the 8 boss kind of thing, you know, where multiple people are coming up to you to tell you the same shit, whether you made a mistake or not. But the Lumbergh boss always is there.
Yes. Whether
it's one boss or fucking 8, you have Lumbergh always hovering there, always being this slimy, disgusting bastard.
Yeah.
And credit to Gary Cole for what he did.
Such a bang-up job.
If you've ever seen Gary Cole in anything else, like Ricky Bobby, West Wing, as I mentioned, there are multiple fucking things. I think he did an NCIS or some shit.
Yeah.
This guy is an actor.
Oh,
like, legit. It just is a totally different person in this movie. It's amazing.
That night, after, Lumbergh asks Peter to work for the weekend, he goes to this occupational therapist. He sits down and Peter gets hypnotized and the therapist collapses with an apparent heart attack. And Peter is left in like this trance-like state and he blows off work that weekend and he starts down this road of not giving a shit about work or anything.
I don't think I'm gonna go anymore.
This is basically what I went through. Like, not the hypnotism, just like, I'm kind of done with my last job. And it's awesome. It follows almost the exact same track. I recommend it to everyone.
Yes, we all know that Corey is unemployable. So, that's
aggressively.
That's
unemployable.
And I know you enjoy being unemployable.
I wouldn't say I enjoy it. It's just who I am. I made my peace with it. What's the point changing at this juncture?
I'm still fighting it. Listen, you got to that point and you're enjoying it, or you've made peace with it. But I still got two little Italian people in the back of my head that are like, "Why you be lazy? Go to work. Why do you do that?" So I'm constantly fighting it. I want to be Corey. My life's dream is to be Corey, but I'm still fighting it, so I still work.
Yeah, I'm like a 13th generation white American. I'm just like, I'm not doing that. Disgusting. Someone park my Lexus, please.
On Monday, instead of going to work, Peter goes to Tchotchke's, the restaurant right by their job, and finally asks out Joanna, a waitress that he's been infatuated with. And he asks her out to lunch. They get to know each other through lunch and hanging out. He tells her of his plan not to quit, but to just stop going to work. And Peter and Joanna start to, hang out and start their relationship and, over this bonding of watching Kung Fu.
And I got to do this real quick for all of our Romeos at home.
Corey's Life Lessons.
Hi, boys. Uncle Corey here. We've stated before on this show, don't hit on the wait staff. They're there to do their job. If you are going to ignore that rule, follow this one and do it like Peter does.
Yes.
Hey, I'm going to go have lunch. Would you like to come with me? If not, no big deal. Cool, I'll see you around. That's literally all you have to do.
Yes.
If they show up, dope. If not, it's no big deal.
Looks like you're eating pot stickers by yourself. Peter then goes back to the office here and he meets with the consultants, the Bobs. And he tells them about his lack of motivation, his overall frustration with the company, and the Bobs want to promote him to upper management.
This is a dream that I think every employee has ever had. And nobody has the balls to follow through with it, myself included, because I think everybody who's been a cubicle worker has sat down with a consultant at some point in their career and had to go through this shit. And because you have a family and a home and bills, you shit your pants and you just do what they want you to do and toe the line. But to have this kind of freedom to just go in there and just lay it all out on the line, and not in a snitch kind of way, but you're still rat fucking everyone.
Yes,
that's a dream.
Yep.
I would. If somebody asked me today to go to my old job and meet with consultants, I think I probably wouldn't be able to do this, even to this day.
Yeah,
this is so amazing.
The job that Ron Livingston does in this scenario, the way it's written and his delivery, because it's all in the delivery. Because if you do it in such a way, this is why some people, and I've been told that some people don't mind when I complain at work because I make it funny. As long as you make it funny, it doesn't really come across as complaining. It's just another bit that you're doing. With Ron in this scenario, he does it so effortlessly, and there's no emotion behind it. He's just laying out bullet points and the facts, and he's doing it in this very laid back. So it doesn't come across as him complaining or bitching about the company or whatever. It just comes across as like, these are the things that are on my mind. And that's it. And now, and because, he's a white dude, they're like, this is the best. Like, you should be the CEO like tomorrow. Corey's life lessons.
Hi, society. Uncle Corey here, fellow white dude. When we're slacking off and apathetic, don't give a shit, whatever, it's not because we want to be challenged. The amount of teachers that thought I needed to be challenged more, no, I am challenged. I don't need to be challenged.
Yes.
I just don't care because I know where I am.
Yep.
On the pecking order of intelligence. I'm
Absolutely.
at the bottom, bitch. Just let me fucking bag your groceries and let's move on with our lives.
100%. And with all that being said, we also see on the other side, Joanna, who is at Tchotchke's, and she's going through her own shitty thing with her boss and having to wear the minimum 15 pieces of flair. And like, so we're getting the two sides, two different like work environments and whatnot. And I've also, because I've also worked in food service in the past, I've also been here. And whether it's in an office or food service, that whole, do you want to do the minimum effort? And because that's what you're fucking paying me. That's what I never understood. And that's what's so frustrating about seeing these bosses in this movie. And it's like, oh my God, like, well, fucking Todd over there, Todd wears 57 pieces of flair. And it's like, you know what? I'm going to fucking murder Todd behind the dumpster tonight because that's how much I hate that guy.
You were right.
You're making it harder for the rest of us just to exist.
Yes.
So tone your crazy shit down or go audition for a fucking Broadway show. But shut your fucking mouth at work and cut it out with your 37 pieces of flair.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Hell yes.
So now we get back to the Bobs as they discuss who they're laying off, and they're sitting there with Lumbergh and I forget the other dude's name. They come across Milton's name here. And we've seen Milton up to the point in this movie. He's mumbling. He's just that weird dude in the office that everybody's seen.
Okay. I should have to turn down the radio because
all right, okay.
I enjoy listening at a reasonable volume.
Thanks.
From 9.
Apparently, he was fired 5 years ago, but nobody told him, and he still receives a paycheck, and they fixed the glitch.
So, Milton has been let go.
Well, just a second there, Professor. We fixed the glitch.
He is so good in this. The Bobs are so unbelievably good in this.
Yes, absolutely. I love
even right down to the like rope belt suspenders he's wearing. Holy shit.
No, it's perfect. And like I said, the casting director like did a fantastic job of casting every single character down to the Bobs. Peter then meets with the Bobs again. He finds out that not only is he getting a promotion, a raise, and stock options, but his friends, Samir and Michael, are being fired.
Chalk another one up for the white guys.
Exactly. So Peter here then goes to his friends. He meets with his friends and he tells them like, yo, you guys are getting fired. And by the way, I'm getting a promotion. So they're obviously pissed. And I think at one point before this happens, Michael talks about the Superman 3 hack that he can do to the company, which is fucking brilliant. The way they put this in there and like, I've heard of this before. Yeah, it's from Superman 3.
This sounds familiar.
Yeah, they did in Superman 3.
Right.
Yeah.
I love it when they reference pop culture like that in such
Yeah.
a way that's so universally goofy.
Yeah.
You just can't help but be like, oh, Christ.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Because it's a brilliant plan when he talks about it. And you're like, where did you get this from? Oh, Superman 3. I'm out. I love Richard Pryor as much as the next person, but fuck that shit. That movie's terrible.
So they decide to move forward with this plan, and they go to the office the next day and they execute said plan. And it takes all of about 45 seconds to execute the plan, which this is one of the parts of the movie that I thoroughly enjoyed. First time viewing all the way up to this past time viewing. Because when you get these like more serious movies, when you get these movies where it's like, oh, here's the plan and the heist. And when you hear it, you're like, oh, it's a pretty simple plan. And then they execute it, and it's like this whole thing. In this movie, it takes literally 30 seconds of screen time. And they're like, well, that was pretty easy.
Well, that was easy. Yeah, I guess it was.
Yeah, and this is a good time, I also think, to talk about the soundtrack, too. Which, if you're a fan of hip-hop, holy shit, dude, the soundtrack is amazing.
Thank you for bringing it up, because... Again, I always knew the soundtrack was good, but I always forget until the movie. Right from the start, when Michael Bolton is in the car through the end, the soundtrack is amazing.
Yeah, dude, it's like Scarface starts it off. You get Ghetto Boys in there, you get Cube in there, dude. It's so good.
Yeah, no, it's so good. It's amazing. Yeah, and if you're a huge fan of like 90s hip hop, this is your jam.
You're right. It's fact.
Take it from us. We know hip hop.
So after this, so they execute this plan on the last day of Michael and Samir's working there, and they get fired that day. And Peter takes them to an empty field where he gets them a surprise, which is the printer / fax machine that never fucking worked in their office. So Peter steals it. And then we get the slow-mo Michael and Samir beating the shit out of the fax machine. Soundtrack, it was a perfect song selection. Using slow-mo was awesome. The way this whole thing was shot was great. And again, the capper for me and my favorite part of the scene, because you have Samir like dropping the high legs onto the thing, and then you have the bat. And at the very end, you get Michael Bolton's complete frustration as he like throws the bat to the side and he just starts bare knuckle like punching it. That's my favorite part, and that's the funniest part. And then the walk away where he's just holding the wires and dragging the wires behind him.
This is one of the better. This is the best shot in the film, and two, this is one of the better shot comedic scenes in a movie I've seen. Because one, they've built this up where this fax machine or whatever the fuck this thing is just a gigantic piece of shit.
Why does it say pepper jam when there is no pepper jam? I swear to God, one of these days I just kick this piece of shit out the window.
You and me both, man.
It is their antagonist.
Yes.
This is almost as up there with Lumbergh especially for these two guys.
Yeah.
So when Samir and Michael Bolton get this out there, it's like they murdered this fucking machine murdered their daughter.
Yes.
And it's pure unadulterated rage pouring out of them. And everything you mentioned was great here. And this is where the writing, I think, can be showcased too, because Ron Livingston says, I have a gift for you guys.
Yeah.
Right? I stole something. We're going to call it a gift. He never participates one time. He lets him get the initial kicks in, and then he hands the bat off. You know what I mean? It's really like just that little subtle piece of writing where it's like, hey guys, I got the guy that murdered your daughter. He's in the trunk of my car right now. It's so fucking good. It is so good. And you're in it and you feel their frustration and you feel their pain, because everybody has ran into a PC load letter before.
PC load letter? What the fuck does that mean?
That weekend, they are on their way to Tom's celebration. After he gets hit by the car, he throws this huge celebration party for his big settlement claim. And Peter tells Joanna in the car ride on the way to the party about the heist. And at the party, Peter then finds out that Joanna once slept with Lumbergh.
Oh, let's see. How Lumbergh fucked her.
So he confronts her on the way home and they fight and break up. I know that's a very quick summation of these scenes, but there's a few really good things that the writers did in this because on the way to the party, Peter's describing what they're doing and she's like, "Oh, you're stealing." And he's like, "No." And he's trying to justify it. And the lengths that he goes to.
You know, the Nazis had pieces of flair, but they made the Jews wear them.
What? Yeah, do you ever have those moments in a movie? And it's usually from a movie from your past or something, but it comes up and you just like, oh, I get it now. Like just something clears, cobwebs clear. So like in politics today where everybody's like, nah, Nazis, they're all Nazis. He's a Nazi, she's a Nazi, they're a Nazi. Everybody's a fucking Nazi, right? I get it. You've lost the argument and you're just throwing shit out there to try desperately, Hail Mary attempt to win this fucking thing that you've lost fucking before it even started because you're just in the wrong. So I get it now. Like that was my moment watching this. It's like, oh, that's why you guys are screaming that everybody's a Nazi because you're fucking stupid.
Yes, 100%. And by the way, on that, I have a don't do that.
Don't do that. It's not good for you.
Hi, everybody that's, I don't know, maybe stealing from your company. And it doesn't matter whether you're Jennifer Aniston saying, maybe I should just go and steal from the cash register then. It's the same thing. And if you're Peter in this situation, don't do what he does and go the Nazi comparison route. You've already lost said argument. But B, just go, yeah, we're stealing because fuck them. That's why. This is how you know they're amateurs in this whole thing. He's trying to justify the theft by saying, well, I mean, it's only like fractions of a cent. Instead of rounding down, we round it up and we take the fraction. And so just say, yeah, we're fucking stealing. It's a fraction of a cent. They'll never know. Just admit the thing. You're fine. Because after she goes, oh, you're stealing, just don't get caught. She's already cool with the whole situation. She just doesn't want you to get caught and go to jail.
Yeah, and I think she also wants you to understand what you're actually doing.
Yes.
Like, you could sugarcoat it all you want, but you are stealing. And by the way, the Nazis had a list of don't do that's for the Jews.
Yes, they did.
FYI, friend.
Sorry. Maybe we'll change the name. Or not. Either way. Joanna then goes to her job. She quits after being questioned once again about her flair one too many times as she flicks off the whole restaurant, the manager, and everybody else on her way out the door. Which, if you're gonna quit, I would recommend, this isn't a don't do that, this is a totally do that. I would recommend to do it in spectacular fashion. Starting with flipping everybody off. That's a great start. But destroy everything on the way out. Like, this is we're letting the motherfucker burn on the way out the door. You need to flip tables, pour glasses of water on unsuspecting customers.
Hell yes.
I think I didn't get fired from numerous jobs because I threatened to do that shit if I got fired.
You're Milton in this. I'm like, this motherfucker on fire.
I'm just much louder. Much louder.
Peter then checks the balance in the account that they set up to see if everything's going to plan. And he sees that there's over $300,000 in the account. So Michael, Samir, and Peter all freak out. They're trying to figure out how not to get caught after this huge mistake. So they do the first thing, like they shut down the bank account first first things first, they got that taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
And then they transfer it into like traveler's checks because they're trying to launder the money. And the conversation of them trying to figure out how to launder money to the point where Orlando Jones shows up selling magazine subscriptions and says that he's a crackhead. So they're questioning him about how to launder money. This whole series of scenes is fucking brilliant.
Yeah, this is way more true to life than like Ozark.
Yes, absolutely.
Where you're like, uh-oh, guess we gotta launder money in the Ozarks now.
And them like looking up money laundering in the dictionary.
Oh my God.
Like just, and listen, the only thing I don't appreciate, Michael Bolton, is
how is it that all these stupid Neanderthal mafia guys can be so good at crime and smart guys like us can suck so badly at it?
That line is brilliant because do you know how many times I've thought about that? And I'm like, you're watching like whatever it is, The Godfather, whatever mobster movie or show is out there. Mm-hmm. And it's like, they have these like, oh yeah, I got a guy, he does the laundering and the thing with the thing. And I'm lost because I'm like, I have no fucking clue. If you gave me $100 and told me to launder it, I would have no idea where to start.
Yeah, I still don't understand why it goes into a dryer with poker chips. Like, are you literally laundering the money?
Uh-oh. We got a moron here. Is that it?
Because I have a steam cleaner. I can do that. Like, is that what Ozark is about? Just Jason Bateman with a steam cleaner in Missouri, just fucking steam cleaning $100 bills?
He buys a laundromat and like all the dryers are used. He just keeps putting quarters in them motherfuckers. It's like 4 seasons of just that.
What a great show.
And during this whole thing, Peter actually finds out that the Lumbergh that Joanna slept with wasn't actually his boss. It was another dude with the same last name that got transferred or whatever the hell. So he feels like shit about that whole thing. And just an FYI, and you know what? I'll just do it. Don't do that.
Don't do that. It's not good for you.
Hi, boyfriends and girlfriends. Especially like, you know what? I'm not even going to say especially. Just never. Don't ask about past relationships and past whatever. If somebody wants to bring that shit up, let them bring it up. That's on them. It's not your business to know the who's, the what's, the when's. Listen, are they clean? Do they have any diseases? Then we're starting fresh, okay? Don't make them pay for sins of the past. Especially don't ask for names. What is this, lying eyes? Don't be asking for names of past lovers and whatever. Just don't do any of that shit.
I can't disagree more. You're wrong. If the number, you ask. And if the number is more than 1, being you call them a slut, a whore, you make them feel like shit. You fucking tramp. Fucking throwing a hot dog down a hallway ass bitch. I fucking knew it. Have I been doing it wrong?
I think you've been doing it wrong all these years.
That would explain a lot about my relationships.
Is that why you've been divorced so many times?
I don't think that. I think that's why my mom won't call me back.
So that night, Peter decides to write a note taking responsibility for the whole situation. And apparently he took responsibility for Superman 3. And he packs that up along with the traveler's checks for the full amount that they stole. And that night, Peter meets Joanna outside of her new restaurant that she's working at and lets her know that he may be going to jail for a while, but asks for her forgiveness. And they get a hug and a kiss here, and she forgives him. So Peter then sneaks into Initech after hours and slips the envelope with his confession, the $300K, under Lumbergh's office door. And the next morning, we get Milton talking to Lumbergh's secretary about not getting his paycheck. And then he lets himself into Lumbergh's empty office to grab his red stapler that he's been mumbling about this whole goddamn movie. And when Peter shows up to work the next day, the whole building is ablaze. It's on fire. And as the building collapses, we see Milton sneaking away from the crowd, mumbling about his stapler and yada, yada. Milton has taken our advice. And that's how you quit in spectacular fashion.
Yep. Burn it down and take $300,000 and fuck off. That's absolutely the way you quit.
And here's the thing. And this is just a warning. Okay. And after watching this movie multiple times and seeing movies with a character like Milton, always keep your eye and make friends with that guy. You don't got to go over his house for dinners, but just be nice and cordial to that guy. Because if you're not, you're going to be in the office when he lights it on fire. You're going to be in the office, duct taped to a chair, which is what this is what Milton should have done to Lumbergh in this situation.
Hell yes.
But, yeah, I was going to say that's the one change I would actually make in this movie is like accounts payable, Nina speaking, case of the Mondays, Lumbergh. I'm tying them all to chairs, and then like that's how it ends. It's just like police just going like, "Holy shit, there are bodies in here."
You just turn this from a comedy to a horror flick.
It's one and the same. One and the same. Just depends who dies.
It depends. Listen, this soundtrack would lend itself to a horror flick too. So,
oh yeah, like
that works.
Everyone at home, close your eyes right now. Picture Hitler dying from pineapple cones being shoved up his ass. That's funny.
That's comedy.
Yeah. Death and humor. You're welcome.
We later see Peter, who has joined his neighbor, Lawrence, his construction crew, and they're working on the cleanup of Initech. And Michael and Samir stop by to visit on their lunch break from their new jobs, and they talk about the fire and decide that they're probably going to get away with the crime because of said fire. And the movie ends as we see Milton at the resort. And if you haven't figured it out yet, you figure out here that he burned the building down and took the traveler's checks when he gets the wrong drink and threatens to take his business and his traveler's checks to another resort.
And threatens to cyanide the water supply.
Yes.
So Milton's psychotic. I didn't make that one up. Milton's fucking crazy.
Oh, 100%.
No, dude, this movie is so wonderfully iconic and timeless.
It really is.
I don't think it's possible. I mean, I say it's not possible for this to not be, stand the test of time. However, you never know what the economy's going to do. We might all not have a job. And then it's like, I don't get this movie anymore. Because nobody says case of the Mondays in a failed state.
Yes, that's true.
So it's not relatable at all.
I'm pretty sure you get your ass kicked for saying some shit like that.
I believe you get your ass kicked saying something like that, man.
Everybody in this movie does a fantastic job. The one that impressed me the most was probably Jennifer Aniston, because all of the characters she had played and seems to play since then revolve around her being the smartest person in the room, which is fine, no problem. But in this, she's just a very normal person.
Yeah.
Like, there is no, like, oh, I'm doing this because I was an engineer and then da-da-da-da. Like, she's just a waitress. She went from this job to that job. And there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But she doesn't display any, like, of these incredible flashes of genius or, you know what I mean? Like, even when they're having the stealing conversation, she breaks it down to, well, you're stealing.
Yeah.
Regardless of how you're angling it, you're stealing. It's a very basic conversation. And I thought she did a fantastic job, especially coming off of like Friends and playing Rachel, who again always had the answer to everything, was always, she got the zinger in because she was huge on that show. She was the one who won. So coming into this and just being a person, I would imagine is very difficult to make that transition.
I would be remiss if I didn't bring up Diedrich Bader as Lawrence. And I know he's not a major part of the story. I just love, anytime he shows up in a movie, I know I'm going to laugh, even if it's for 2 minutes. But him playing Peter's neighbor and like yelling about the breast exam.
Hey, Peter, man! Check out Channel 9, check out this chick!
Just his little interjections into this movie and into, you know, these scenes. He's brilliant. Like when they're sitting at the table going over the plan, he's like, "Don't worry, Peter, I won't say nothing." And Peter's like, "Oh, no, he's cool. He's cool."
Yep.
Like, he's brilliant in this movie.
You're goddamn right he is.
Whatever.
No, he was really good in this. By the way, a neighbor that familiar with me, my nightmare.
Oh, dude, 100%.
If you happen to be my neighbor and you're watching one of these shows, I don't know your name, and that's the way we should keep things.
You were right.
Let me put it I'm the type of neighbor where if you're like, "Welcome to the neighborhood, here's some cookies," I'm throwing them away because I'm thinking you probably poisoned them. And you ain't gonna get me, bitch. That's how
Not today. Not today, Satan. But yeah, other than that, man, I got nothing else. I absolutely love this movie. I've always loved it since the first time I saw it. And I mean, I got nothing bad to say about it.
No, fantastic movie.
Yeah. So, well, with that said, for Corey, I'm Armando. This is Kiss the Reviews, and this was 1999's Office Space.